This is a great movie. You're not going to regret it. You're going to want to skip this movie. Have you ever wondered what movie should I see this weekend? Well, we're here to help. It's On Cinema at the Cinema. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of On Cinema at the Cinema. I'm your host, Tim Heidecker. So excited to be back again talking about the new movies of the week. Joined by my guest today is Greg Turkington. Greg, thanks for being on the show.
Hey guys, good to be here. And of course, we also sometimes talk about old movies. So this is a fun show.
Okay. Just quickly, before we get into the movies, I wanted to just address something. After last week, people were asking on the internet about something that had happened at the end of our last season of the show that had to deal with Ayaka, who moved back to Japan. And there was an issue that Greg had brought up on the show, a bit of a paternity dispute with her and myself. And I would just like to clear the air and go on the record here and say that that situation has been taken care of. Shortly after learning that news, I handled it in a way that was, I think, mutually beneficial for all parties involved, and sent her the money that she would need for such a procedure. And without saying too much or getting too personal, I would like to assure everybody that that problem has been evacuated, or it's not the right word, taken care of. I've taken care of it. While I stand by my position as a member of the pro-life community, I want to say that I still stand for those ideals. But when push comes to shove, when you are a part of that situation, choices have to be on the table, because there was no way that I was going to be in that situation. So I wanted to clear the air there and know that we are here to have fun and talk about movies. But that's the answer to that. We're not going to talk about it ever again, I hope. And I don't want personal stuff to influence this show. I want the show to be about movies and...
Yeah, that's what I've always said.
Right. Finally, I'm on the same page with you on that.
People have reality TV if they want that sort of thing. You know,
Right.
they tune in here for movie reviews and for expertise, and that's always what the focus should have been.
All right, well, let's get into this week's movies. First up, so excited this is back. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, directed by Matt Reeves, starring Gary Oldman, Kerry Russell, two names, Andy Serkis. The circus is back with Andy Serkis.
Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus.
What's that?
The Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus. If you've ever been to the circus.
This is Serkiss.
Right.
And a growing nation of evolved apes is threatened by human survivors of a virus released on decades earlier. Both sides are brought to the brink of war, which will decide the dominating species. This is a sequel to a prequel, one of the original great movies of all time, Planet of the Apes. This is
Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston from the original Planet of the Apes. And this is better, bigger, smarter, faster, funnier, more exciting, scarier than the original, even the original of the prequel, called Dawn of Planet of the Apes. Or the first prequel name was of Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
It's not called Nation of Apes, was it?
Mm-mm.
What was the original sequel of what was the original prequel sequel called? The
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
No, this is called This is called Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
We're looking for the name of
There's the planet. Well, the
original
reboot.
It's called Original
was the Planet of the Apes, and then the Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
The original
was
Planet of the Apes with the original of Charlton Heston's Planet of the Apes was just Planet of the Apes. But then there was Tim Burton's remake called Planet of the Apes. I'm talking about the one that came out 2 years ago with James Franco called, fill in the blank. Know your movie.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes. What's the difference between Rise and Dawn?
I guess you rise, they're rising up, where dawn is more about what time of day it is.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. This was a fantastic movie. It's probably going to win Best Picture.
I hope not. If it wins Best Picture, that's probably a sign it's the last one in the series, because that's how they tend to do that. If you remember when Lord of the Rings won Best Picture, and The Hobbit 3 is probably going to win Best Picture. So I'd prefer that this doesn't win Best Picture, because I could use another 10 Planet of the Apes movies and then give it Best Picture. That's why I hope Bond never wins Best Picture, because I want
that's
that
not going to
series
be a
to
problem.
continue forever.
Bond's never going to win Best Picture. That's obvious.
Well, I
Bad
think
movies.
the final Bond will win Best Picture.
There's not going to be a final Bond because it's
Good,
cheap.
because they're going to keep making them.
They'll keep making them because dumb sheeple like you keep going and buying into that crap.
I mean, that's like calling Star Wars people sheeple, which is...
I do.
Well,
Okay. Rise of the Planet of the Apes gets 5 bags of popcorn and 2 sodas.
I'm going to give it 5 bags of popcorn and a banana cream pie, because apes do like bananas.
All right. And speaking of apes, the next film is And So It Goes, directed by Robert Reiner, starring Michael Douglas and Diane Keaton.
From The Godfather and The Godfather 2.
This is not a Godfather mafia movie, unfortunately. It's a comedy, which is a self-centered realtor enlists the help of his neighbor when he is left in charge of a granddaughter he never knew existed. And that is a very funny comedy by director Rob Reiner, star of Harry and Sally, and I give it 5 bags of popcorn. It's the funniest movie of the year. I laughed out loud several times, and I enjoyed this movie. Thank you, Rob Reiner.
And So It Goes right up to the podium to collect the award. I agree. This is a funny movie. Rob Reiner is long overdue for an Oscar. And Diane Keaton, of course, was in The Godfather, and she's one of our treasures of cinema. So I love the movie, and I'll give it 5 bags, and I'm going to throw in an Oscar.
It's funny, now that I live in Jackson Hole, there's only really one movie theater. And you don't have Starbucks, and you don't have this and that.
Where do you get your coffee?
Well, it's funny, I'm now sort of part of that whole home-brew coffee scene. First of all, coffee tastes a hell of a lot better when you're grinding it at home and making fresh pod every day. I got the shakes now because I'm here in Hollywood and all they have is Starbucks, so I'm left drinking that crap. But when I'm back in Jackson Hole, I'm on my Kawasaki, I'm driving around, and I go to the local store and get eggs and whatever there is available, and it's a better lifestyle. It's clean air.
It doesn't sound good. You're missing lights, camera, and action. We've got all those here being sort of amongst all the movie magic.
Well, it's like
I don't think you're going to have that in Jackson Hole.
I don't, but in a way, first of all, Robert De Niro lives near, or not Robert De Niro. Who's the guy with the accent?
Dolph Lundgren?
Harrison Ford
Oh.
lives in Jackson Hole. I want to do a new segment, guys, that I've never done before. I'm very excited about it. We shot it earlier, and it's a way to get to know the guests of On Cinema. I wanted to figure out a little bit more about who we are talking to and why they are such huge cinema buffs. And for our first episode of this segment, I've got a chance to talk to one of our resident film buff experts, Greg Turkington, in a segment called On Cinema, at the Cinema, on Guests. Thanks for doing this. Suit looks good on you.
Yeah, that's kind of, I don't understand why you bought me a suit.
Well, I want you to look good. This is a chance for me to get to know you a little better, let the audience know who they're getting all these expert opinions from.
Okay. It's just weird because you didn't buy me a suit for the actual show and then for this weird...
Show's a little more casual. So anyways, so when I talk to you, don't look at me, look into the camera.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Let's just
I'll
do a
try
quick
it.
audio test. Just say, hey guys.
Hey guys.
Okay, good. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to ask you some questions about you and your life and your relationship with movies. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, that's my area of expertise.
Maybe instead of answer interesting, let me think about it.
Okay.
So we're just going to kind of talk about movies. Sound good?
Yeah. Interesting. All right, let me think about it.
Well, there's not much to think about. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen this movie?
Of course, that's a collector's item. Where'd you find that?
Let's try that again. I just want you to look right in the lens.
Okay. Of course, that's a collector's item. Where'd you find it?
It doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out a way to organize my video collection. Is this something that you feel comfortable giving me advice on?
Yeah, when it comes to movies, I'm the master of codes. I've got an incredible system, which I've explained to you before on the show. So
would you be able to tell me what code this movie would get?
Sure, it's worth a shot. Let me see the movie. So the way to do these codes is you get the first letter of the first
Okay, well,
word
we
in
just-
the movie title.
I know. I
and
just
then
wanted to
and
see
then
if you'd be able to do it.
Oh yeah, of course. I've done thousands, literally thousands, tens, if not tens of thousands of those in my collection, which I think is one of the biggest collections in the country.
Okay.
So
Thank you very much
yes.
for doing this.
That's an interview. Mm-hmm. Didn't really ask me about my background for reviewing movies or any of that.
Where were you born?
What?
Where were you born? If you
I
wanna-
was born in Los Angeles.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week. All right. Well, that was very interesting. Learned a lot about you that we didn't know. And you were telling me off camera that you were just recently in the hospital for a couple weeks.
Yeah, during the hiatus, I was.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week. So what was that procedure? Was it?
Just a personal matter.
You're out of the woods now, or?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.